Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? I see Muscles and Mascara made it in. She was in the hospital. So glad she made it in. Hello, Elaine. I've been missing you. Hello, Pauline. Replay crew. Some of you I've already said hi to. I was in here earlier this morning. Very happy that Muscles and Mascara is here and she's much better. Chrissy said, waiting on the snow here in Virginia. Give it up, old man winter. We're done with it. We're done with it. Exactly, Radio Gaga. Muscles is better. She broke out of the hospital. Thank God. Thank God. All right, I'm turning that off. I was going to try some background music, but it's already driving me crazy. Sounds like an elevator music. Good morning, Hillbilly Tech. How are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Hello, Alibi. I answered your email, by the way. Hopefully you got it. Jeannie made it in. Rexy is already being cute this morning. She said there's a cold front coming to Florida. For those of you that are forced to wear socks all the time, when someone in Florida says it's getting ready to get cold, it offends you just a little bit. You just enjoy your cold weather down there in Florida, Rexy. Thank you for the super sticker, Tiffany, and the kisses. I'm blowing kisses back to you. Hope everyone's doing good. What do you have going on for the weekend? What do you have going on? Hang on, I'm getting situated. I miss one morning and I'm already out of the routine. Already out of the routine. I'm all thumbs back here. All thumbs. Brooks is wearing her socks today. I am. Misty knows I am because Misty's in Oklahoma too. Misty's in Oklahoma too. I woke up this morning and I was like, ugh, it's cold. Mermaid says, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. And hubby is on the way home as well. If you didn't hear, I put it on the community tab. I had to cancel the show yesterday. That is his trailer right there. He had a valve misfunction on his trailer that he pulls with a big semi-truck. And it went, well, it didn't blow up, but it caught on fire. He had the wherewithal to disconnect from it and get away from it. If not, it would have gone boom. Thank God it didn't. But he's getting things sorted out this morning with the new trailer, and then he'll be home. He's actually in Tiffany's neck of the woods. I'm going to accuse them of having an affair. He's been spending a lot of time in Dallas, Tiffany. Is that the reason you just threw me that $5 super chat? Tiffany? So anyway, I did get somewhat caught up on what went down yesterday. Seems Bushy is waiving his right to a speedy trial. We pretty much figured that would happen. He's gonna pull out all the punches. He's going to make them work. One thing DAs do not like to do, and one thing defense attorneys don't like to do, is go to trial. Well, he's going to push them to trial. There's not going to be any wheeling and dealing. Not that they would give him a plea bargain anyway. There's 12 reasons why the DA and the defense attorneys don't like to go to trial. There's 12 reasons, and that's the jury. We all think that we can see it, and we know what we would say, but getting the other 11 to agree is a big problem. And things are almost every night, never mind, every night, what am I talking about? There is a defense attorney on TV talking about all the holes in the probable cause. Of course, there's going to be holes. We know that because it is just the probably because is what I call it. It's just the tip of the iceberg. But this one has so much in it. They said it's so easy for the defense to see which way they're going to be headed. Which way are they going? It's a crazy thing. Now, in one of the groups, this was sent to me this morning, a family member posted anonymously, which I know a lot of people say it's probably a troll, probably a troll. Well, it has somebody knows who this person is and they approved it. So what's going around is this. Okay, this is not a trigger alert. This is a possible this is just a rumor alert, okay? We can talk about things too here. It says, I'm posting anonymously because Brian is my family, and you people in this group act like vultures and rabid raccoons. Bushy is innocent, and you will see he has been framed by his drug partner friend, the security guard from the university. I do not know this person's name. I don't want this person's name because we don't accuse people around here unless we need to, like in case they're in jail and there's a probable cause saying they probably did all these horrific things, we can accuse them. We're good there. This is so crazy. So, I don't need to go through all that. But if his family is joining these groups, probably using different names, and they, of course, they already put out the statement that they're going to stand behind him, well, then he's going to fight. He's going to fight this big time. He's definitely going to fight this. What else went on yesterday? What did Just Me say? Everyone's laughing at Just Me. She said Marshmallow fell into the fire. I don't need, do I need to even know what Marshmallow did to Just Me? Don't mess with her. She had a birthday this week. Don't ever mess with a woman that's had a birthday recently. All right, so we're going to look at the hearing here in a second, not the whole thing. And we have some other things that we have to look at, of course. But with everything I had going on yesterday, we did get to do a show yesterday about Anna Walsh. And if you get a second, if you didn't get to see it, go back and watch it. But this was going around. Bushy cut himself shaving. This is probably old news to most of you, but what's old is new again today. Supposedly, the razors that they give you in the jail to do your manscaping aren't good quality Gillette razors. It's basically a Dollar Tree Bic razor that, a woman's shaved her legs with 4 or 5 times. Then they hand it to Bushy. My problem with this is that he cut himself sideways, and let us not forget, he is accused of killing people, stabbing to death 4 people, getting in a house, quadruple murder, stabbing 4 very healthy young people in 20 minutes and getting out. But he can't shave. But he can't shave. I have a huge problem with this. There's something wrong. Are they going to use this as evidence that he couldn't have done this? Look, the guy can't even shave. He can't even shave. And you're telling me he did this? Look at him. He hacked his own face up. He can't even kill himself. And you're telling me he did this? It could be a ploy. Exactly, Phantasmic. Maybe it was somewhat self-inflicted. Yes. Pamela said maybe he never used a real razor before. Maybe. You would think that they would give him just like the Norelco, you know, the Norelco. Then you don't have to worry about sharp objects around someone who used a very sharp object to commit quadruple homicide. I think something else happened to him. Nobody shaves sideways. He didn't trim his eyebrows. Right, Shanny. He didn't touch the brows. Hmm. Have a big problem with that. Alibi said, I saw someone say that the prison razors are really bad. Really? They're super bad. Super bad. They take chunks out of your face. They cut you sideways. We've all cut ourselves shaving. You know, you get a nick and you put a little bit of toilet paper on it. It clots, you're done. Not this. Uh-uh. It's funny that his neck is okay though. You notice that? The neck doesn't look cut up. Just a couple of areas on his face that's facing the camera. It's on the side that the camera is pointing. Have a big problem with this. I'm kind of calling BS here. Kind of calling BS. Hang on. Thought I had that pulled up. All right, so I can't remember. I think it was Tamara that sent this to me. If not, you get credit for it. Michael Ruiz, I don't know who he is. He said Vans are a common sneaker. And as readers have pointed out, they've been worn inside the house before. Dylan supposedly wears Vans. Vans are a very popular shoe. That said, we don't know yet what size print police found or what they recovered after his arrest. I agree. Lots of people wear Vans, but I don't understand why the probable cause is would need to talk about Xana's Vans, Ethan's Vans, Kaylee's Vans, Madison's Vans, Dylan's Vans, Bethany's Vans, or anybody else that partied in the house because they're not suspected of quadruple homicide. I think they're mentioning his footprint outside of Dylan's door to back up her eyewitness testimony. And if you look on the screen, this was pointed out to me. When they took some evidence out of his apartment, it looks like they might have a pair of Vans in there. They didn't mention any particular size. I mean, do you guys think it makes sense for them to just to say, we found a footprint. We'll let you know later who we think it belongs to. That just doesn't make much sense to me. And Bushy style, we know he would keep the shoes, guys. We know he would keep the shoes. He kept the car. He left the sheath laying on his first victim. So we know he would hang on to the shoes. We know he would. Not only did he hang on to the shoes, he left them behind in his old apartment as he went to Pennsylvania to celebrate Christmas. It's crazy. It is crazy. I don't understand why they only had one footprint, though. I would think that they would say, not that I do it, not that I do this. Exactly, Sarah. Why just one? You found one latent shoe print. Was Bushy hopping around on one foot? Why just one? Thank you for becoming a new YouTube member, Tammy. We have a members live coming up. Make sure you're there for that. Diggler said they can check if the shoe print exactly matches by checking any unique wear marks, etc. Exactly. Not everybody is walking around in a brand new pair of shoes. We learned this from the Wagner trial when they were talking about Georgie and Jake and Billy. We haven't gotten to Billy yet. They could tell about the wear and tear on the shoes, how many times they've been worn, the whole 9 yards. Bourbon Chic is a new member. Thank you, Bourbon Chic. So that's just my thoughts on the Vans. More is going to come out on that. All right, Nancy Grace is getting some hate. She's getting some hate. Now then, this is a picture of Nancy Grace sitting outside. She's got a whole ass desk standing sitting there. She basically moved her office out into the snow, and I love Nancy Grace, do not get me wrong. Corner Club, we all are familiar with that place, says we cannot wait for these vultures to leave so we, as a community, can begin to heal. They are disrupting that process and are not welcome. Gonna ask you guys what you think about this. Seems to me that Nancy's just doing her show in front of the police line. She's not disrupting anything. She's not inside the house. She didn't slip up and call Bushy Tot Mom. It'd be one thing if she's calling him Tot Mom. Then this Barstool Idaho says our tragedy is not your news backdrop. I have a little something to say about this. You didn't say anything when Brian Enton was standing out there in the snow, or Lawrence with Fox News, any YouTubers, but you're calling out Nancy? You're calling her out? You're calling her out? This time last month, if you recall, some of these same people were yelling, the case is going cold. We're not going to let this become a cold case. Now you've got the queen of true crime sitting outside in the snow, and they're like, who the F you think you are? Our tragedy is not your news backdrop. Get the hell out of here. That's not what they were yelling this time last month. This time last month, they were saying, it's a cold case. It's getting ready to be a cold case. What a difference a few weeks makes. Well, and an arrest and a heavily, heavily weighted probable cause. My thoughts exactly, Slim. I would love Nancy's national attention on any case my loved ones or I was involved in. If you want the spotlight, you want Nancy's help. You definitely do. And look at the help I just got. Angel P just left a super sticker. Exactly, Jamie. Nancy is a hoot. Don't think she's going to care about all this online hate. Don't think she's going to care about it at all. At all. Also, yesterday, the defense they made a discovery motion, which we have read many, many, many discovery motions on this channel. They all are basically the same. They're all basically the same. They want everything, everything that the DA has. Everything. Send me what you got. Because we have till June to get ready for prelim now. He waived his right to a speedy trial. Thank you very much, Julesy. You awesome thing, you. They want it all. What's different about this one? And, well, two things that we haven't really seen on this channel. I don't think we ever have. I don't need to read the whole thing. I posted all of this in the Facebook group, our Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group. Number 6, state witnesses provide. Oh, I got to pull this up. It's too small for me. This would be a good time for my dollar store readers. I got them on. State witnesses provide a written list of the names, addresses, phone numbers, and or other reasonable means of contact for all persons having knowledge of relevant facts who may be called by the prosecuting attorney as witnesses at trial, together with an NCIC report and a Spillman report of any such persons. All right, then it goes on to A, B, C, D, you know the routine. So not only are they talking about the DoorDash guy, they're not talking about their experts yet. They get to that later. They're not talking about DoorDash. They are talking about him. They are talking about the driver that dropped off Madison and Kaylee, but they are also, even though some people said it would never happen, they're talking about Dylan. They want Dylan's statement, her original statement. Now I wonder if they are going to ask to depose her. The defense, which they can, under oath depose her. So if anything changes from her original statement, they're not going to say anything after deposition, but they're going to save it for trial. They're going to be like, well, no, 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 no. On the 13th, the 14th, the 16th, the 17th, the 18th, when you talked to the officers, you said this. In depositions, you said this, and today you said this. I know a lot of people are saying, I don't think they're going to make her testify. She'll probably just Zoom in. Well, if they do get her on the stand, they said they're going to be really nice to her. They are going to be nice to her because they don't want the jury saying they're beating up on this poor girl. She's been through enough. She's been through enough. But he has every right to face his accuser. Every right. Out of the gate, 23 minutes into the show, look at Phantasmic with a theory. What if Bushy saw a DoorDash person and told them he ordered it or he would bring it in for his friend and met whoever at the door? I like that theory. I do. I do. I like that theory. DoorDash fits in there somewhere. Thank you very much, Nene. Me love you long time. DoorDash fits in there somewhere. A lot went on at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. DoorDash gets dropped off. I saw a picture of a sack that was left on the counter. I've got it around here somewhere. It just says Xana on it. So Xana got DoorDash. It's delivered at 4 a.m. Around that time is when Dylan was awakened because she heard Kaylee playing with her dog. Around 4 a.m., after 4 a.m., is when the murders started. Is when the murder started. Insane. Insane. Let's look at the comments from the last couple of shows and get to it. Miranda said if the judge read the victims in order of death, it would make sense. The sheath was found under Maddie. If she was the first to go, he had to remove it first. Yes. Probably thought he secured it somewhere and dropped it instead. Yeah, I think he meant to come back and get that, but he got the hell out of Dodge. Either he injured himself because they said Xana fought back. He sees a clear shot to the sliding glass door. Last I checked, they believe that he got in and out using that sliding glass door. I haven't seen anything official on that because I kind of think the DoorDash thing could be something. DoorDash gets there at 4 a.m. He could have got in when DoorDash opened. Thank you, Kim. You amazing, amazing person. Amazing friends you are. So she opens the door to get DoorDash. He could have been laying in wait and got in that way. I don't know because I haven't seen anything official that he came in that way. I know it's been speculated and it was mentioned at a press conference. They think he got in that way, but now we hear the DoorDash thing. It's something to think about. Now, when he came back around 9:30 that morning, do you think it was to look at his handiwork, to think somebody woke up and all hell had broke loose, to count cop cars? Do you think he was going to try to get back in to get the sheath? What do you think he was coming back there for? Do you think he realized he left an eyewitness and was going to try to do something to Dylan? I don't know. MD Jean said probably knew he was not finished with the knife since he left the sheath. MD Jean thinks he was going to go up and get it. One thing's for sure. Well, two things, he says. The forensics on the footprints and who was killed first. They already know. They know from the shoe prints how he got in and how he left. True. This is very true. The probable cause doesn't have anything about the footprints, only that one. But if they found that one latent footprint, then they found others. Another thing about Dylan, she'd already heard someone say someone's in here. So she knew when she saw him, he was the someone she'd heard about minutes earlier. I can't say I'd walk out of my room and check it out. Maybe she didn't call 911 because of the previous calls made of noise complaints that Kaylee got onto everyone about. If you remember, and we're going to go through it again, there were a lot of noise complaints. And it was rumored. Well, I wouldn't say rumored. I mean, Kaylee's dad mentioned it, that Kaylee got very upset with the roommates. Better not get another noise complaint. This actually kind of makes sense. What do you guys think about Dylan just going back in her room, even though it says she froze in fear because she didn't want to call any authorities because she didn't want all hell to break loose and get into it with her roommates for having the authorities there again? They'd already been called on too many times. We had several comments about you don't know what you would do if you were in her position. Here's my thing. I'm going to take a page out of Bushy's post that he was making in 2011. I've been in this meat suit a long time, okay, guys? I think it's kind of rude when people tell you you don't know what you would do in that situation. We know ourselves pretty well, do we not? Maybe not exactly what we would do, but I think we know ourselves well enough to know if somebody is, if there's a stranger around our house and there's all these weird things going on, I'm going to run. Okay? I'm going to run. Every man for yourself. I'm not a hero. I'm going to run. I'm pretty sure I'm going to run. And when I make sure no one's going to kill me, whether I'm up in a tree or crawled underneath my car, I'm going to find a way to get the police to help out. I just, do you guys think that you know yourself well enough that if you are faced with danger, you know what you would do? Exactly, Kim. He says, I'm living in a meat suit. Now, that was in 2011. He also has a leather sheath. He's a fake vegan. He's a fake vegan. Dr. Lipschitz said I'd shoot the intruder. I think we know ourselves well enough to know what we would do, but we don't know what other people would do. That's the difference. I know what I would do. I don't know what other people would do. I don't know what Pat would do. I don't know what Jules would do. I don't know what Jeannie would do. I know what I'd do because I'm a chicken shit. I'd run. Nameless says, what if he didn't see her because of the visual snow? What if he didn't see Dylan because of the visual snow? Thank you, Tarnia. This is an amazing community. Amazing. Because you guys are amazing. 100%. So, what if he didn't see Dylan because of the visual snow? It's a fair question. We saw the thing from the Mayo Clinic the other day. We watched that. And it can be triggered by extreme stress, migraines, everything like that. This seems like a pretty damn stressful situation. Maybe his visual snow kicked in and he didn't see Dylan. Trying to help her out. Trying to help her out. We got to make sense of this somehow. Dina's making sense of it with an awesome super sticker. She said, I most definitely would not go back to sleep. I can tell you that about myself. I would have trouble going back to sleep. That is for sure. Here comes Kool-Aid Man Jamie. He has not been diagnosed with it, has he? He didn't put me on his HIPAA form, Jamie, so I cannot answer that for you, my friend. But I appreciate you throwing that in my face real quick. I don't know. He just said it. Can we believe him, Jamie? Let's see if Jamie thinks we can believe what he says. Gino said maybe his visual snow went away. True. True. Sammy Quinn says, replay crew here, great show. I have a theory. If he was hurt, he probably wasn't thinking about the sheath at all. He was probably just thinking about getting the hell out of there. It could explain why he didn't go for Dylan if he was trying just to get out of there and fix his wound up. That's a thought too. And Denise Cohen said, we have to remember Xana changed her locks right before the murders. Why was that? Why was her dad over there fixing the lock? Why? I think maybe he had been in there before and maybe broke into her room. I don't know about that. Maybe then he looked around and that's how he knew who slept where. I don't know. But it is odd to me that it was mentioned by Xana's mom on News Nation talking to not Zanfield, Banfield, that her father was over there fixing a lock. I wonder besides the lock being broken, well, I don't know. Was he changing the lock or was the lock broken? That's a big difference. Stacy said, when I was in danger, I blacked out and didn't know what was going on. See, so Stacy knows how she would respond. Stacy knows how she would respond. We all know how we would respond. We know how we would respond. We would run, shut down, pass out, or get killed. Or get killed. That actually probably would be me. I'm not that graceful. I'm not that graceful. Okay, let's look at the hearing real quick. I'm going to try to get through it and not bore you with it because I'm sure you guys probably saw it 1,050 times yesterday. There was a couple of things that I picked up on, though, that I wanted to discuss with my friends here. Okay, there he is coming in with his cut up face.
All right.
Right, good morning. We are on the record. This is cause number CR 29222805. This is State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. Mr. Kohberger is in custody. He is appearing here in court with his attorneys, Ms. Taylor, Mr. Logston, Mr. Thompson, Ms. Jennings appearing on behalf of the state. This is the time set in the matter for the preliminary hearing status conference. So I am going to inquire of counsel. Ms. Taylor, what's the status at this time?
Thank you, Your Honor.
I have to look at this comment. Sarah, you are so right. That's what I was thinking. She said, is it just me or does he act like it's just another day in the classroom for him? He knows what's happening. He knows he's going to be going on trial for his life. He knows. He knows. She said he knows what's happening and he answers it so matter of fact. so matter of fact. How can you be that disconnected? He doesn't even act scared. Do you think he's having fun here? Stacy's having fun. She just left a super sticker and said she enjoys the channel. I enjoy you guys. I enjoy you, Stacy. I just cannot. I mean, he acts like he's not there. The lights are on, no one's home. But Gino is right because Santa is prosecuting. Santa's on it. I love that DA. He can do no wrong in my book.
We're going to ask the court to set preliminary hearing out into June. We would request the 3rd or 4th week of June and probably 4 or 5 days for preliminary hearing. Mr. Kohberger understands his right to a timely preliminary hearing, and he's willing to waive the timeliness to allow us time to obtain discovery in this case and be prepared.
And Mr. Thompson, are you in agreement with that?
The state has no objection to that, Your Honor. And Ms. Taylor reached out to us by email yesterday with her proposal. On reflection, the state's calendar would be better in the month of July, but we will make the end of June work if that's the court's preference. And I haven't had a chance to talk to Ms. Taylor about that. I'm sorry, I know that's last minute.
That's okay. The court's calendar is going to be better towards the end of June, early July. So would that work, Ms. Taylor, for your scheduling on your other matters?
Your Honor, yes, if we take that 4th week in June, that's actually best.
Okay. So, Mr. Kohberger, I need to speak to you for a moment then. So you do understand, and Ms. Taylor has represented here, that she's advised you of your right to have, or fully discussed with you the right that you have, which is to have your preliminary hearing within 14 days of the date that you initially appeared before this court. As you recall, when I advised you of your rights, that hearing is a probable cause hearing, or the state has to establish that more likely than not, these felony offenses were committed and you were the one that committed the felony offenses. If you waive your right to a speedy preliminary hearing, it does not mean that you're giving up your right to have a preliminary hearing. It simply means that you would not be able to come back and challenge that the state did not present probable cause within 14 days. Do you understand?
Yes.
Have you had enough time to speak with Ms. Taylor about your decision to waive your right to a speedy preliminary hearing?
Yes.
Do you need any additional time to do so?
No.
Then I will ask at this time, as to the 5 counts, felony counts that were charged in the criminal complaint that was filed on December 29th of 2022, are you waiving your right to a speedy preliminary hearing and agreeing that that hearing can be held outside the 14-day period?
Yes.
And Ms. Taylor, do you concur with his waiver?
I do, Your Honor. Thank you.
I will find your waiver of speedy preliminary hearing is knowing, intelligently, voluntarily entered here in open court with the assistance of counsel. We will go ahead and set the matter for preliminary hearing. Beginning Monday, June 26th at 9:00 a.m. And I will go ahead and reserve the week, so June 26th to June 30th, in the event that we need all 5 days for presentation of evidence. And just so council knows, it will begin at 9 a.m. each of those days. Is there anything further to address at this time in the case, Mr. Thompson?
Not from the state's perspective, Your Honor, no.
All right. Or Ms. Taylor?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Kohberger, then you will be remanded into custody on your same no bail at this point in time, pending further proceedings. Again, we'll send notice out to council and we will be in recess for this morning.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Well, he's got nothing better to do, so he's waiving his right to a prelim in 2 weeks. We all saw this yesterday, just not together. So they're pushing it almost to 4th of July. Well, that gives them a lot of time, and she asked yesterday for all the discovery, which is not uncommon. It'd be extremely, extremely strange if she didn't. Have a feeling she has a lot of stuff to go through. I agree. I saw different comments in here saying she seems very confident. Very confident. She's had murder convictions overturned. She's no joke. We kind of laughed because, JW, before all of this, he was on panel and he said she's a dino, or the attorney's a dino, defense in name only. We kind of laughed about it. And now we see this lady, little different story. She could, if she was just giving him the bare minimum defense, then she'd be like, let's get this over with. We're going to go to prelim in 2 weeks, probably have a trial sometime next year. And like Christina said, here's the problem. It only takes one juror to doubt he did it. Like I said, if they can make a deal, and in this one, they're not going to make a deal. It's too high profile. I just don't see that happening. Don't take my word for it. It's just my opinion. If they can come to an agreement before and the accused goes for it, they would much, much rather do that than go to a trial. Because what Christina just said, there's 12 reasons, and it's the jury. I mean, from my vantage point, I know what I would have a problem with, but what if the other 11 don't see it my way? Some of you think it's a slam dunk. Hell yeah, I'd put him in the chair right now. Light up old Sparky, I'm done with him. But what about the other 11? That's their problem. Phantasmic, thank you for the super sticker, said constructing his masterpiece. Oh, just imagine what his book would be like. We know who won't be reading it, though. BTK won't be reading it. He, with all the time that he has to spare, he's got no time for Bushy. None at all. Just me. Reasonable doubt. So let's talk about that. Like I said, nightly, there is a new flock of experts coming on. And what the flock of experts are talking about is, if it was their case, what they would hammer at, what they would hone in with the jury as reasonable doubt. Touch DNA has been brought up several times about the sheath. Somebody brought up entrapment, about getting the DNA out of his dad's trash can in Pennsylvania. They've tried that many, many, many times. It's not going to work. When you throw something away, you don't have any expectation of getting it back. So forget it. They've brought up, yes, they've brought it up, the eyewitness. They said the eyewitness is going to be the problem. You can argue cell phone pings. You can put doubt into the jury's mind about all the science. The eyewitness is a different story. That's where there's a problem. They said you have to also be really careful about how you're talking to the eyewitness, because she's going to come across as sympathetic to some of the jurors. Some of the jurors are going to be like, let me hear what she has to say. Now, hang on. Let me see what this girl's really talking about here. They said, so you have to be really careful. There was it was on Dateline a few months ago. And in order to get their conviction, they were going to have to bring up some not flattering characteristics about the victim. And they said they knew they would lose the jury when they had to introduce these things to bring it all together. They wound up having to make a deal with this guy. Now, he's still going to jail for life, no harm, no foul, but they didn't go to trial because of that. In this case, there's no way they're going to get away with not going to trial. So, They can argue all of these things, but they can't argue with the person that said, I saw him. I would recognize those eyebrows anywhere. And then, of course, it's mentioned in the discovery. We want everything, including anyone that you're going to put on the stand to testify against him, your eyewitness. We got to have your eyewitness. So, as of like right now, if you're on the jury, if you were sitting on the jury and just what we have from the probable cause, because that's all we have, we know it's just a little bit of what they have. Believe it or not, it's just a little bit. Imagine what else they're going to pull out in June. Would you be okay sending him away for life or death? Or would you say, I think I need more information? Priscilla, his own mistake. The sheath is going to put him away. The sheath is going to put him away, Priscilla said. Angel said, absolutely. Angel's ready to go now. It's game day for Angel. She's ready. She's ready to go. All right, there was an explanation yesterday about the cuts on his face. It's really quick. Let's look at that.
Kohberger appears in court today with scratches all over his face. The 28-year-old PhD student had cuts on the right side of his face, apparently due to shaving this morning. News Nation's Brian Enton was in court.
You could see that there were at least 2 cuts on the side of Bryan Kohberger's face. The sheriff now tells me that those cuts are from shaving, that he cut himself shaving this morning before court.
Kohberger waived his right to a preliminary hearing within 14 days.
Do you understand?
Yes.
A preliminary hearing, which is like a mini trial, was set for June 26th. He did not enter a plea. And the mother of slain Ethan Chapin is speaking out for the first time, posting on Facebook, "We spend no time being angry. That would be energy not well spent. And it still wouldn't change the outcome. We have to look ahead." Ethan's triplet brother and sister have returned to the University of Idaho for the new semester. Their job now is just to be kids, start where they left off, their mom posted.
Ethan's parents, they all do. Don't get me wrong, they all do. Ethan's parents just tear at my heart. When Ethan's mom posted after the arrest, we were 100% behind law enforcement, thanking them profusely. She just really breaks my heart. Could you imagine, though? You're so confident in this law enforcement and their arrest that you send your children back to the university. You send them back to the university. I know a lot of people are like, look, I can go with this, this, and this, but I would not send my surviving children back to that town. No way, no how. The memories alone, I wouldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. No way. Suzanne said, did Xana grow up in Idaho? I think she grew up in Idaho, but then her dad moved to Arizona. Or it could be opposite. She could have grown up in Arizona and then they moved to Idaho. Does anybody know for sure? I forgot. Hello, Texas Tiffany. What's up, girlfriend? Because also Kaylee has a sibling that goes there. Maddie's an only child, I believe. I don't know about Xana's siblings, what they do. I have no idea. No idea. Nana said, I would not send my kid back. Would it make a difference if the university reached out and said, no tuition due? Don't worry about those student loans. We're going to wipe them out? Or would you still say no way? Marco says, my kids will be pulled and going to a new university, period. Even though they've caught the guy. Even though they've caught the guy, you still wouldn't let him go back? I don't think I would let him go back either because me personally, I wouldn't want to go back to that town. Nothing against the police. Nothing. And I would say, hey, if you can easily erase that debt at your school, why don't you talk to your friends at Sally Mae and FAFSA and erase it at the next one? We're going somewhere else. No way. I just can't see myself doing it. Mystified said, doesn't Xana's sister go to WSU? I don't know. I have no idea. I think that's one thing, like I said, we know ourselves pretty well, and I think that'd be one I just couldn't do. But then again, Ethan's brother and sister could have insisted and said, I want to go back. I thought about that myself. Maybe they're saying, look, this is horrible, this is awful, but I want to go back. Magoo's not having it. Magoo said no. Magoo said no. So as you heard from the comments, a lot was coming up about the sheath, the sheath, the sheath. I just think the sheath was left by Madison because she was his first victim. As far as being his target, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of gave up on that weeks ago, to be quite honest. I really don't know if anybody in that house even was a target. Then I think about the whole thrill kill thing. He left Dylan behind. It's safe to say he didn't know Bethany was in the house. He's not good at very many things. He's probably not a very good stalker. Bridget said, as a mom, I would worry that the memories, good and bad, would be too hard for my surviving kids. Me too. And me myself. And me myself having to go to Parents' Day, football games. Yes, Madison's an only child. I think the order that they were killed is the order the judge gave. Just because anytime, at least here, like I said the other day, I don't know how they do it in Idaho. I just kind of assumed it was done that way everywhere. I don't know. When there's more than one victim, the way it goes in court, it's named in the order that they were victimized. And this is how the judge read it. Hang on.
Bryan Kohberger, on or about November 13th, 2022, in Lake County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogen, from which she died, in violation of Idaho Code 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. The maximum penalty for this offense, if you were to plead guilty or be found guilty, is death or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Count 3 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan Kohberger, on or about November 13th of 2022 in Lake County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Kaylee Gonsalves, a human being, by stabbing Kaylee Gonsalves, from which she died, in violation of Idaho Code 18-4001, 4002, 4003, 4004. Again, the maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is death and or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Count 4 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan Kohberger, on or about November 13th of 2022 in Lake County, Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being, by stabbing Xana Kernodle, from which she died, in violation of Idaho Code 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. Again, the maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is up to death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Count 5 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohberger, on or about November 13th of 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing Ethan Chapin, from which he died, in violation of Idaho Codes 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. And again, the maximum penalty for this offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is up to death and imprisonment for life.
That's the order she gave. That's the order she gave. It wasn't ladies first in alphabetical order. It wasn't alphabetical order. Deb E. said, you all should move to the community in Pennsylvania and lock yourselves in that gated community with Bryan. Bryan is in jail in Idaho. I don't want to go to jail in Idaho. Is there a good deal on real estate up there or something? I'm pretty happy in Oklahoma. What are you trying to say, Debbie? You all should move to the community in Pennsylvania and lock yourselves in that gated community with Bryan. He's in jail. She says, just a concerned citizen from Idaho. You might want to check your news, Debbie, because he's in jail in Idaho. He's not in Pennsylvania. So instead of being in here, you might want to check what's going on around you. He's not from Idaho. You're right. He's from Pennsylvania. Why would I want to move there? Does anybody want to take Debbie up on her offer and move to the gated community in Pennsylvania? Bryan's not there. And I wouldn't want to live by Bryan anyway. Bushy does not sound like a cool person to hang around. I don't know what to say about that. Okay, so the connection. We all want a motive. We all want to make sense of this. The attorney that represents Kaylee's family the other day said there is no connection. Now he's coming back. He's doing a circle back. And he's saying, well, now hang on. Let me clarify the connection. Either there's a connection or there's not. Either there's a connection or there's not. A few weeks into it, the police said, hold your horses. It may not be anybody in the house. It might be the house itself. It might be the house itself. It might not have anything to do with the people in the house. Then I go back to the whole thrill kill thing. He left Dylan alive. Unless his virtual snow or visual snow was acting up. Then he would have seen Dylan. He left Dylan alive. So that obviously it wasn't going to thrill him to kill Dylan, but he picked the other four. So let's see what the attorney has to say as far as the connection. Debbie says, I stopped in for a few, was shocked, am leaving. I can't imagine anything that we are saying or talking about on here that could be more shocking than the quadruple murder of 4 college students, unprovoked, as far as we know, no connection to this fool. I can't imagine anything being more shocking than that. I don't know what the hell's going on around here. So let's see what he says.
Whereas after the attack, the 28-year-old was attending Washington State University at the time, less than 10 miles from the Idaho crime scene. Gray has previously said that the victims gave no indication that they were being stalked, but that if any of the families find any information connecting the victims to Kohberger, it will be turned over to police. A time the suspect could have visited the home was during one of their off-campus parties. You see, the home had a reputation as being a party house. In fact, police responded to at least 2 noise complaints just a few months before the murders. Body cam footage captures officers speaking with 3 of the victims, Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, and Zana Kernodal, during 2 separate incidents.
Is this your place?
Yeah.
Perfect. You know over here?
I assume noise.
Noise, yeah.
Yeah.
Big speaker right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against having a party. Once neighbors start calling in, then we have an issue.
Fair.
So usually, at least for me, I'll give you a verbal warning.
Okay.
Once I have neighbors calling in, your music's too loud. You're disturbing the peace.
Yeah.
Nothing against having parties. Nothing against having people over who are overage to drink.
Mhm.
But again, once we start disturbing the neighbors, then we've got an issue. This is your place, so I'm going to hold you responsible. Because it is your place, you're also responsible for everybody here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grab your info.
Yeah.
And if I do have to come back here, a $300-some ticket's coming your way.
Okay.
And it only gets more expensive from there. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fair. Absolutely.
All right, Madison. So here's the deal. Okay. They've already said that no one here lives, none of the occupants that live at this address are here right now. So now you have a house full of random people. You need to let them know that the noise needs to come down. Okay. We just received a noise complaint. We want that music turned down. And we don't want to come back again tonight. If we have to come back again tonight, then there's going to be even more problems. Okay.
I see both sides. Good. I'm just frustrated. I'm also so sorry once again.
I've never had to deal with this ever.
Yep. And we don't want to start now. I don't ever remember having come here, so I understand you guys are having to get together, but people have a way of taking the invitation and using it as an excuse to get out of control and be loud.
Advantage.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I just hope for your sake that your friends don't put you in a position where you get the citation and you have to go to court to defend yourself from your friend's behavior. Make sense?
Just so chilling seeing them there only a few months before this. So I'll bring back in Brian and Terry on this. So Terry, the affidavit places Kohberger near the house numerous times before the murder, but surviving roommates didn't know him. So if you were the prosecution, how do you explain that?
Well, a couple things here. First of all, if he's near the house, but outside the house, what the prosecution is going to have to argue is he was casing the house. He was going around trying to figure out what are the entrances, what are the exits, how can I get in? So that's one possible explanation for his being there and the victims not knowing him because he never entered the house. But as we saw in those clips, there were multiple parties at the house apparently, and there were noise complaints. So it could very well be that he was inside the house because those cell towers put him in that area. If he's in the house and there are lots of strangers, then perhaps we just don't know whether or not any of the victims literally ran into him. There could have been 100 people in there, and they could be all people from the school, and they don't know everyone who is in that school. So I think they would have to basically say they didn't run into him, and the prosecution is going to have to prove that that was what exactly happened. He might have been in the house, but the victims didn't see him.
If he was in there, he just would.
I don't think he would just blend in. I don't know why I think that. I just don't think Bushy would just blend in. For one, he's almost 10 years older than all of them. He's almost 10 years older than all of them. He's new in town, doesn't go to University of Idaho. She's acting like he could have just been at the party blending in. I just don't see it. Wilhelm says, I wonder if it was him calling the police to see response times. I am wondering that myself. I truly am. I truly am. Now, the police were pretty ticked off, and you could clearly hear noise. You could hear the music pumping, or like that one reporter said, the frat was bumping. You could hear the music pumping, and the house is bumping. You could hear all that going on. But it actually makes me wonder if it was him making the phone calls. It just kind of makes me wonder. Because it was pointed out, Ryan Christie said it in Discord. She said, nobody made a noise complaint November 13th. It woke Dylan up. The camera next door picked up noises, but nobody called a noise complaint at 4 a.m. If they're pissed off in the afternoon and they're pissed off at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, wouldn't they be pissed off at 4 a.m? Yeah, I don't think he blends in, Clumsy. I don't think he blends in. I don't think he does.
Would stand out. He's older. He looks different. So, Brian, let's go back to that hearing that's on Thursday. What should we expect from that?
Yeah, going from arrest to an actual trial can sometimes be a long, tedious process full of procedural steps. I'm expecting in this status update, the judge is going to want to get the ball rolling because don't forget, Kohberger has a right to a speedy trial. I'm expecting maybe a plea of not guilty and moving forward an expectation of an indictment through a grand jury and then discovery that's going to be handed back and forth between the two parties.
All right, we'll wait and see. When we come back, social media addiction. Anyone with kids knows it is a real thing.
Okay, that guy was wrong. I went to the wrong spot. Hang on. Where's the attorney?
And welcome back, everybody. So we're keeping you.
Must have put the wrong one up. Dadgummit. Oh, well, basically he said that they are still putting things together to try to find the connection. He said anything that they come across, they're letting the police know. And that's good. That's definitely good. They should be doing that. If Olivia is going through all of her sister's socials and she sees someone who is friends with Bryan, didn't just start following Bryan, but has been friends with Bryan, I don't know if you can tell or not, that wouldn't hurt to tell the police. Hey, I found a connection between Bushy and my sister, or Bushy and Xana. But then we go back to what the police said about this time last month when they say the connection could be the house. It still doesn't make any sense to me. I have a feeling when we get to the prelim in June, it's still not going to make sense to me. Another thing that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, I'll put it on the screen. Not that we're attorneys or anything here. This was in the discovery request. In the court filing submitted by his public defender and Taylor, Bushy requested any written or recorded statements by a co-defendant and the substance of any relevant oral statement made by a co-defendant, whether before or after arrest, in response to interrogation by any person known by the co-defendant to be a peace officer or agent of the prosecuting attorney, or which are otherwise relevant to the offense charged. What co-defendant? I know a lot of people reached out to me yesterday, and I get it. I get it. What co-defendant? Why are you even mentioning someone who doesn't exist? Have you guys ever seen this verbiage in a request before when there's no co-defendant? Are they expecting a co-defendant? There is no co-defendant. Are they expecting someone to show up? Now, he said when he was in Pennsylvania, he asked, I shouldn't say said, he asked, has anyone else been arrested? So they're putting the cart before the horse. Hey, if a co-defendant shows up, you need to let us know what they're saying as well. Because obviously his attorney isn't going to be defending both of them. They can't do that. What co-defendant? I think one of the experts says, oh, they put that in there every time just to cover all the angles. I've never seen it before. I've never seen in a discovery request mentioning a defendant that doesn't exist. Never. Just me is thinking it's a ploy by the defense for reasonable doubt. Well, where's this co-defendant? Where's the co-defendant? Why did he ask if anyone else has been arrested? Gino said be really interesting if he had a helper. Yep. Farley said diversion. DT thinks he had assistance. Detective Juan, how many discovery requests from Idaho have you read? This would be my second one. You got me there. Other states, I've never seen this. That doesn't mean anything because I haven't seen it. That's why I'm asking you guys. Never heard anybody bring up a co-defendant when there's no co-defendant. Never seen it. Hopefully somebody explains that to us and they say it real slow, because I need things really dumbed down for me in this case. Nothing's making sense. Just like the search warrant, I get the search warrant being sealed, but they sealed the search warrant before he was even arrested. This has been explained to us. Let's look at that.
Well, we're going to talk about it with a legal expert. Will explain better than I can about it. And also, there is additional information about what he may have said to people about this crime and of one of his victims and what we see of her and about her house and that life. Okay, there's new body cam video of Kaylee Gonzalez. So let's bring in our guests, criminal defense attorney Mark Garagos and retired FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer. Good to have you both. Counselor Garagos, why would he waive speedy trial?
Well, first of all, they've got to do, and they've already started, a parallel investigation. This is a death penalty case. The last thing you want to do is rush into that. I know a lot of times there's some people who think that it's a good idea if the prosecution isn't ready, they're behind the eight ball. I don't believe that. I think with the resources that the government has, you almost always need to take a breath, take a beat, do the investigation, investigate all of the other things. And I will tell you, there are some rumblings around. I don't know if you saw the other day, there was a search warrant that was sealed. One of the reasons they gave for the sealing was very curious. There are all kinds of things that are swirling around this, and as any competent, he clearly has a
Coffindaffer can't keep up with Mark Garagos. They really need to cut her out of the shot. She's not an attorney. That'd be like me being up there. Mark Garagos is a freaking beast.
very competent defense lawyer would take the time to do the parallel investigation they need to do.
She's nodding her head like she's going to offer something. She can't. Just stop.
What was the squirrely language around the warrant, Mark?
There was some language in the warrant that if unsealed, not only would it compromise the investigation, but that arguably it would threaten law enforcement. That tells me that there's something there that they don't want out yet, or something that they missed, and they're afraid that if it got out that there would be public, what I call blowback. And I think that that's a legitimate concern. I will tell you, I've seen I can't tell you how many thousands of warrants that have been sealed. Rarely have I seen one where the reason centered on the threat to law enforcement.
Coffindaffer, are you similarly concerned?
Yes.
Oh, she's just going to go along with what he's saying. So he's saying they're afraid of blowback. So that's the reason they sealed it. Let me listen to how he said that again. Because they forgot something. Hang on.
Breath, take a beat, do the investigation, investigate all of the other things. And I will tell you, there are some rumblings around. I don't know if you saw the other day, there was a search warrant that was sealed. One of the reasons they gave for the sealing was very curious. There are all kinds of things that are swirling around this, and as any competent, he clearly has a very competent defense lawyer, would take the time to do the parallel investigation they need to do.
What was the squirrely language around the warrant, Mark?
There was some language in the warrant that if unsealed, not only would it compromise the investigation, but that arguably it would threaten law enforcement. That tells me that there's something there that they don't want out yet, or something that they missed, and they're afraid that if it got out that there would be public, what I call blowback. And I think that that's a legitimate concern. I will tell you, I've seen I can't tell you how many thousands of warrants that have been sealed. Rarely have I seen one where the reason centered on the threat to law enforcement.
Cuomo was not buying it. He went, okay. So what do you think? Because him and Mark Garagos don't get along, but that's what happens when you have experts on your show. They don't always have a good rapport with who is interviewing them. Snazzy, This is what I'm thinking. Break it down, make it simple. It's called the element of surprise. They probably want their search warrant sealed. The search warrant, unless my eyes are deceiving me, was executed on December 29th. He was arrested on the 30th. We were all together when it happened. They just don't want the public to know what they're pulling out of his damn house. It could be what Garagos is saying. They don't want a blowback. But at this point, no, I just think they want to keep it sealed. They want to keep it a secret for whatever reason. Bushi, a co-defendant doesn't always have to be an individual. They can actually be a place. So Pizza Hut can be a defendant? What do you mean? How can a co-defendant not be a person? Like I said, Pizza Hut. How could they ask what Pizza Hut said about Bushi? I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't know what that means. Where's Jakey going? Bye, Jakey. Jakey's off to their day. I don't know what Bushi's talking about. Why does a co-defendant can be a place and not a person? Tiramisu said it's the car. Tiramisu, quit screwing with me. Quit screwing with me, people. I got a lot going on. Yes, Snazzy. The car is his co-defendant. Dear God. Dear God. That's what Garrigo said. It could be a blowback. Law enforcement blowback. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Adjusted fate. Corporations are people too. I totally understand that. But wouldn't you not name a person? This is just a out in the blue co-defendant that doesn't exist. Some people say it's in there all the time. I don't know. I have no idea. No idea. Could be his eyebrows. Like I said, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. No shit. Kim, exactly. Watch it be the dog. That would be my luck. Watch it be the dog. I'm telling you what, I would shit a brick. I guarantee they're going to work that poor puppy into this somewhere. They are going to work the poor puppy into this somewhere. Kim just had to get my blood pressure up and say, watch it be the dog. Oh my God. Here goes Adjusted Fate. Adjusted Fate is not worried about my health today either. Adjusted Fate said, we need Cesar Millan to interview Murphy. There was a lady in chat that kept, when we first started talking about this case, in all caps, kept saying that over and over, the same thing, until she finally got my attention. And boy, did she. I was like, nope, Cesar Millan is not going to interview the dog. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Cowboy says they found something else illegal that can connect Bushy to the victims. What are you thinking it is, Cowboy? If you want to grab the link and come up, let me know. Just don't make it be about the dog or the Pizza Hut, because my brain is not taking it today. My brain is not taking it today. Lisa said Murphy doesn't need Caesar. He's a good boy. He learned to bark at 4 o'clock on November 13th. I had been told over and over when I kept saying, wouldn't the dog wake up? Wouldn't Dylan wake up? Wouldn't Bethany wake up? I hear the dog doesn't bark. Dylan and Bethany sleep with earbuds in. And the neighbor, Einan, has the K-bar in his butthole. That was like all in one show. It was crazy. It was a crazy ass show. What on earth? Yeah, get Dr. Doolittle, get Eddie Murphy on it. Yeah, I can't imagine the co-defendant being in an inanimate object. But there is no co-defendant. Yet Bryan, when he got arrested in Pennsylvania, said, "Have you arrested anyone else?" I think he's playing games. I really think he's playing games with people. I really do. Christina, where is Einan, by the way? I don't know. He was throwing up some Facebook videos about how hard he works. I think he was making some chicken at work or something the other day. He moves around that kitchen pretty fast with that knife in his butthole. I don't know how he does it. I mean, if I sit on my keys, I jump to the next room, but Einan, he works it. Oh, Bree said Einan's in San Francisco. See, there you go. There you go. He took him a little vacay. Well, he's had a lot going on. He needs some R&R, doesn't he? He needs some R&R. Don't bother him too much. I've been wondering where the hell Jeremy's at. Where in the hell is Jeremy? Jeremy's got to be, I mean, Jeremy probably shit and fell back in it when he found out that they did genetic DNA and they got it out of the trash can. Thank you, Lisa, for the super sticker. All this DNA talk, latent footprints and everything. You know how many times he has scanned that document? He's not in his rugby group on Reddit anymore where he became friends with all those people that called him a quadruple murderer. I'm kind of wondering how Jeremy's absorbing all this because he has read that probable cause looking for his damn name a million times. A million times. I miss old Jeremy. I kind of did feel bad for Jeremy for a few days because people were like, well, just look at him. He's a killer. And then I felt bad for Dylan's boyfriend. He looks like the like Aldi's version of Eminem. And he's getting mad at people in chats that are saying, nah, that guy doesn't have the juice. He couldn't kill anybody. He's like, what do you mean? I can kill. I'm from Boise. It was getting insane around there. All the people that were insulted when people would say, no, I don't think they're the killer. And they're like, what do you mean? Me? I'm not? Now you know how bad they feel. They're like going, you're telling me that you think Bushy is harder than me? I think that would hurt anybody's manhood that was like, nah, they're not the killer. They can't be. And then Bushy pops up. I think we got self-esteem problems all over the place. All over the place. All over the place. All right, so before I end this, get everybody off to their weekend. I'm sure everybody heard yesterday because it went around the world fast. Just the other night on the Golden Globes, Austin Butler won for portraying Elvis. Lisa Marie and her mother were there. Lisa Marie was talked to by several people on the red carpet, gray carpet, whatever you call it. Some people pointed out that she didn't seem like she was feeling very good. Well, anyway, she had a heart attack yesterday, cardiac arrest, and she passed away. She passed away. Just me said, poor Priscilla. The whole family, it's like a Greek tragedy. You have a man with an insane talent that has transcended generations. I went and watched the Elvis movie. I mean, I grew up with these music. This is my parents, my their music. My kids know about Elvis. Their kids will know about Elvis. It'll go on and on and on, I believe. There is a pilgrimage as we speak on their way to Graceland to mourn his daughter. To mourn his daughter. If I died, we'd be lucky if 10 people showed up in chat to throw in a prayer emoji. But they are so drawn and talk about the tragedies in this family. Just a couple of years ago, Lisa Marie's son, who's the spitting image of his grandfather, S'd himself. Preschool Granny said, my mother was a huge Elvis fan. Oh, yeah, my parents had the Jack Daniels decanter, the Elvis TV trays, the whole 9 yards. Yeah. Thank you, Bree. She said you'd have at least 555. Coincidence. Theorist said the price of fame is high. Yep. Lisa was at Graceland when her father died. She had a very bizarre life. Very bizarre life. So before I close up, we're going to get to the latest on what's going on with the very sudden and untimely passing, only 54 years old, of Lisa Marie.
To Quimitra Wilborn, who is live at Graceland, where Lisa Marie grew up. Quimitra, of course, Graceland, as we know it, is a place where people gather from worldwide. Today likely will be no different to honor Lisa Marie's life.
Yeah, that's actually right, Janetta, because as you know, like you said, this is where she was raised for much of her childhood. And after her parents divorced when she was 4, she split her time between Graceland and California. So this was a second home for her. And during her adult life, she always made it an effort to come back to Memphis to mark her father's birthdays. Just 5 days ago, in fact, she visited Graceland for what would have been her late father's 88th birthday. Fans gave her a rock star welcome.
Thank you. It's been a while. I missed you. Oh, I love you. I keep saying you're the only people that can bring me out of my house. I'm not kidding. And I love you back, and that's why I'm here. So today, you're only 88 years old. It's hard to believe. And I think that you'd be proud. It's just so moving how every year you come from all over the world, and it's moving to me and my family, and thank you.
In 2018, Graceland added a new exhibit called Lisa Marie Growing Up Presley. Her daughter Riley cut the ribbon, and the exhibit features Lisa Marie's first record player, her outfits, and the golf course she used to drive around Graceland. And this morning, there's actually flowers on the front gate, so we are expecting that tribute to grow. We are expecting for this memorial to grow throughout the day. So we're really out here talking to fans and learning more and giving more information as the tributes continue to roll in. Reporting live from Wilborn, WREG, News Channel 3.
Well said, Quimitra.
Crazy. I couldn't believe it when they announced that she was going to the hospital. And I mean, it didn't seem like it was too long after that. Priscilla made her announcement that her daughter had died. That's just crazy. Life is fragile. Fragile. Angel Pete, yep, Graceland is worth the trip. It definitely is. And you guys are worth the trip too. I love coming in here in the mornings and talking with all of you. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, a great rest of your Friday. You never know about Fridays. Sometimes they can really wear on kind of like a bad Monday, but we're going to get through this one and get on with the weekend. Now, I am planning a members live, so if you're a member, please check the members tab. I'm trying to make sure that they're scheduled like 24 hours in advance So that way everybody knows. I feel bad when people don't get their notifications. I do feel bad. And Athena Brownfield, missing from Southwest Oklahoma. I think I have 3 videos on the channel. They're probably under the live tab. I don't organize the way I'm supposed to. So check those out because I'm getting I'm getting a live together for that as we speak because it is just pissing me off to no end. I mean, it is just so damn disgusting what is going on in that case. So, a lot of stuff going on. Next week, we're going to also have a show about Quentin Simon. We have a case update on little Quentin. When Leilani got arrested, I said, now, here we are. Everything is in the hands of Lady Justice, not in Billy's hands anymore. And boy, it is because that DA is pounding hard. The DA is pounding hard on that case. So we have a lot coming up. Make sure you are reminded. Make sure. And don't ever be shy to grab the link and come up and talk away. Talk away. We're all friends here. All right, guys. I will see you soon. You all have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for everything. I mean it. Thank you.